LIBOR, foreign exchange, even silver price fixing all went onto the investigation list. The Swiss banks faced particular scrutiny, well known for their secrecy, as long-term targets of U.S. probes.
We are we've been making good progress in our investigation, but these matters are fairly complex.
It's complex, but you want to hear about it, because while you were sleeping in the hope your money is safe and sound, federal investigators have been busy turning bank employees into informants and then digging into what could be the rigging of the foreign exchange markets, where some $5 billion a day passes through electronic hands. The banks under the microscope are ones that very likely have some of your money in the mix. And once again, they've been allegedly working the system for their benefit, not necessarily yours. Welcome back to MidPoint. The professor of finance at the Fuqua School of Business at Duke University, Campbell Harvey, joins us. Campbell, thanks so much for being here again today.
Great to be back on the show.
Campbell, this caught my eye and caught a lot of our eyes here very quickly. The Wall Street Journal today, U.S. investigators turning multiple bank employees into basically snitches in a probe of possible manipulation of currency markets. And the banks here, J.P. Morgan Chase and Company, Goldman Sachs, Citigroup, including UBS, Deutsche Bank, HSBC. This is uncanny because the feds have been after the bank since 2008 to basically keep them in line. And here we go again, where they're not staying in line, are they?
No, and just let me say, it's not 5 billion, it's 5.7 trillion. So this is a huge market. It is the largest market in the world, and it's an unusual market in that most of the trading is done what we call over the counter. So when we think of trading like a stock, you would trade it on the NYSE or the NASDAQ, whereas most of this trading actually occurs between a customer and a bank or between banks. So sometimes this market is called a dark market in that you can't really have that much transparency.
So let me make sure that I make the correction here. You are correct. 5 billion and it's a couple of bucks here and there. It's a few zeros actually, but $5.3 trillion a day. But what does this say to us when the banks, after the 2008 financial crisis, basically they wanted to be held accountable, at least the feds wanted to hold them accountable. But here we have it again, where they are still basically taking matters into their own hands. And then the feds have to go out and find informants who work for them. What does this say about these banks and the fact that they are simply not going to knuckle under no matter what anybody does?
Yeah, again, this is an incredibly profitable line of business for the banks, and the transactions costs are seemingly low when you trade in foreign currency. But when the market is so large, just to move that price a little bit means a huge amount of profit for the bank and potentially a huge bonus for the trader. I should say, even though most of this market is over the counter, a lot of progress has been made to actually create kind of exchanges for foreign exchange, and this would mitigate this problem where there is potential price fixing. I should also mention that the British have been on this much longer than the U.S. Most of the trading actually goes through London, so a lot of the investigation has been already accomplished by the British. Now it's spilling over to the U.S.
What would this mean then for the consumer? Not right now, but eventually as this investigation goes forward?
Well, I think that that a lot of the customers that have been ripped off, so to speak, if the allegations are true, are corporations and investment funds. So it might be that you've got your pension with an investment fund that's not getting very good prices on foreign exchange for, let's say you've got a global equity portfolio and you need to buy euros to buy those equities. So I think that it's probably not the average consumer, but it's indirect. It comes through the investments, through, in particular, 401k plans.
All right, a couple of minutes we got left here. Let's go ahead and spin to the minimum wage. Here's President Barack Obama earlier this month at the Labor Fest, a union-hosted event, saying that American workers deserve pay that matches the amount of hard work they put in. Here we go.
I want an economy where your hard work pays off with higher wages and higher incomes and fair pay for women and workplace flexibility for parents and affordable health insurance and decent retirement benefits. I'm not asking for the moon. I just want a good deal for American workers.
A very angry president, Campbell. How close is he, though, to reality? He would seem to be close, because now we've got Gail Garcetti, the mayor of Los Angeles. He wants everybody else in and around Los Angeles to join him in raising minimum wages. This would seem to be a groundswell that no one can stop.
So it's a matter of looking at the data, and that's what the Duke CFO survey actually just did. So we asked CFOs what the implications were of raising the minimum wage to what the president wants, like $10.10, or even higher. Some people are asking 15.
And we have that graphic up right now while you're talking. Go ahead. Yeah,
so let's focus on the $10, which the president's mentioned. The results are quite striking. 60% of firms would lay off employees. So lay off employees if the minimum wage rate was raised to $10. And there's other implications. So a number, like 40%, said that they would decrease benefits. 70% would look to outsource these tasks, and about the same proportion would invest in labor-saving technology, like robots. So it's just not clear to me what is better for the low-income earner. So you've got one scenario where the wage is raised to $10. That causes layoffs. That causes firms to outsource. That causes firms to set up offshore. Benefits are cut. And essentially, you're in a situation where the government has to pay 100% of the benefit versus the system we've got right now with potential like negative income earned credit. So I think in the big picture, I think everybody agrees that it would be a great thing for people to earn a fair wage. But to impose the cost on corporations doesn't make sense. It just drives business out of the U.S. into low wage countries.
And unfortunately, we're all out of time on that point. But I tell you what, Campbell, we got to come back and do this again sometime. Campbell Harvey, thank you so much for joining us. The discussion continues, and so does MidPoint right after this.